Good morning, friends on Zoom and on YouTube. We will begin our daily devotion in just a minute. Good morning, fellow pilgrims and friends and neighbors. Welcome to our daily devotional from Pilgrim Congregational Church. I'm Patrick Horn. I'm glad to have you this morning. Join us in the study of Genesis chapter 28. Genesis chapter 28 contains the story of Jacob's dream, where he dreams of a ladder going to heaven. And so we're going to take a closer look at this passage this morning. I'll offer a few reflections, and then we will close with a word of prayer. This is Genesis chapter 28, and I'm going to focus on 4 verses, which are the verses of the dream itself, beginning in verse 12. And he dreamed that there was a ladder set upon the earth, the top of it reaching to heaven, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And the Lord stood beside him and said, I am the Lord, the God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give to you and to your offspring, and your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth. And you shall spread abroad to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south. And all the families of the earth shall be blessed in you and in your offspring. Know that I am with you and will keep you wherever you go and will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised to you. So that's the dream that Jacob has. The dream with the symbolism of a ladder going up to heaven and angels descending and ascending on the ladder, and then the Lord speaking very clearly to Jacob. Just a few reflections. Number one, I think it's fairly obvious, fairly clear that Jacob does not see dreams in the way that we typically understand dreams. We have a strong notion that dreams are a way of working out our psychological states, right? That things that are on our minds, things that we're dealing with, and in our dreams, we work through these issues. Jacob does not understand dreams this way. Jacob sees dreams as a form of external communication. That is something that comes from outside of himself to communicate with him, and frequently that is God. And in this case, it is God. This is the first point I want us to take note of, and that is that Jacob doesn't understand dreams in the way that we do. That is, as working out our psychological issues, as it were. But this is a way for God to speak to Jacob. I wonder if maybe we could learn how to do both, that is, appreciate them both as psychological and as a way for God to communicate with us. Second thing to note is that in the dream, there is both symbolism and a verbal message from God. So you have the symbolism of the ladder and the angels going up and down the ladder into heaven, but you also have the words of God, the words of the Lord speaking directly to Jacob in the dream. This is, I think, very important. That is, understanding, first of all, that God can speak to us through symbols, that is, through symbolism. We have lots of symbols in our sanctuary, for example. There are lots of symbols in art and in literature, and I think there are lots of symbols in the Bible as well that speak to us. But there are also words that are said to be from God, and these are direct, and we need to understand um, that this is how God speaks. That God speaks in this way, and in this case, um, God is speaking to Jacob directly. And then the last thing to take note of is that a dream is something that you don't have control over. That is, dreams come and go, and we don't get to decide what kinds of dreams or what dreams we have. I suppose we can have some influence over them in terms of our attitudes and things, and the way that things that we think about as we fall asleep, I suppose, and things of that sort. But ultimately, we don't control this. And Jacob was very aware of this fact. This is something he does share with us, that we do not control what happens to us in a dream. And I think this is a message for us to be ready to hear how God may want to speak to us, to be open to God speaking to us in ways that come from outside of us, that is, ways that we don't control. And so I believe the message this morning includes this idea that we should be ready for God to speak to us, whether through dreams or symbols or words. Let's be open. Now let's close with a word of prayer. O God, too near to be found, too simple to be conceived, too good to be believed, help us to trust not in our knowledge of thee, but in thy knowledge of us, to be certain of thee, not because we feel our thoughts of thee are true, but because we know how far thou dost transcend them. May we not be anxious to discern thy will, but content only with desire to do it. May we not strain our minds to understand thy nature, but yield ourselves and live our lives only to express thee. Show us how foolish it is to doubt thee, since thou thyself do set the questions which disturb us. Reveal our unbelief to be faith fretting at its outworn form. Be gracious when we are tempted to cease from moral strife. Reveal what it is that struggles in us. Before we tire of mental search, enable us to see that it was not ourselves, but thy call which stirred our souls. Turn us back from our voyages of thought to that which sent us forth. Teach us to trust not to cleverness or learning, but to that inward faith which can never be denied. Lead us out of confusion to simplicity. Call us back from wandering without to find thee at home within. Amen. Thank you for joining me this morning from Pilgrim Congregational Church. I'm Patrick Horn. I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.